some technical difficulty. Let me put this back up. That has to stay there. This is what I minimize. And now this is where I need to be. I need that open. I have a bunch of things open. Did I actually post? Hi, I'm sorry. I'm like having some technical difficulties here. I hope this is working. This should go here. Let's see if this works. Yep, okay, I'm there. And live dashboard, turn off the volume. Hello, welcome. This is the Coding Rainbow show. I am in a new space. I am at the School for Poetic Computation. If you don't know what that is, where's my computer? Here it is. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to say sfpc.io. I believe if I go now to blog and, /participate, sorry. If I go to /participate, you will see here, what is today's date? Somebody tell me today's date. Today's date is, so what is the School for Poetic Computation? I'm not an official representative of the School for Poetic Computation. I'm just a fan of the School for Poetic Computation. I am also working out of this space at the moment, setting up a recording studio and hoping to participate in the larger School for Poetic Computation community. But I'm just mentioning it to thank them for allowing me to be here and to experiment in the space while it's sort of a little bit quieter. But if you're interested, School for Poetic Computation is an independent school, amazing teachers, amazing people, a nice community, and they have a summer program which runs from June 1st to August 10th, and you can read about what it is and why you might like to apply. Just mentioning that to start. But I am here. March 15th is today's date. Yeah, I think today might be actually the deadline for applying, so get your applications in. So I'm here to try to kind of reinvigorate my YouTube channel. I'm going to attempt to make videos twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, although today I didn't really get going until it's 3 o'clock Eastern. I only have about an hour, so I'm going to try to add Thursday this week. And I have a long list of videos I'd like to make. I'm going to pull that up, gist.github.com. Oh, wait, I bet you I have it. Yeah. Here, okay, so I haven't really worked out the way that I'm standing here. Okay, so let me do this, move this over. Okay, so this is a list that I'm sort of thinking of. A bunch of small topics. I never finished. I have a set of tutorials about Twitter bots that I never finished. Oh, right. I want to do a whole set of tutorials about doing Chrome extensions. I've got a whole bunch of connected computer vision topics I haven't gotten to, some other larger topic ideas. I want to do an entire set of videos all about just Git and GitHub from the complete and total beginning, with not even about code at all. So that, using writing essentially, like what a poem essentially. How would you on GitHub to sort of follow how that workflow works. I've mostly done all of these P5JS intro videos. I have some more processing 3 videos I'd like to make. So that's kind of my list of stuff that I want to do, and I'm open to suggestion. I would like to take questions from the audience more. I have all sorts of ideas about what I would like to do. But mostly, I just want to know if this is working. Can you hear me? Okay, you guys can. So is the audio good? So can you guys can see me? The audio is good. This I got to work on the keying. You can see there's sort of some gray line here, but I don't actually have light. I have some LED lighting that I've ordered that I haven't gotten running yet. So there's really just a whole lot of clip lights here. So once I get the lighting, it should be better. So you guys can let me know. Can you hear me? Okay. Now the other thing I want to know is if I come over here, and by the way, I've got Periscope going, and I'm going to say goodbye to Periscope now. So Periscope, I'm going to switch this button. Oh, this camera's off. Turn this camera on. Periscope, if you want to join, youtube.com/Schiffman/live. And I'm going to swipe down to stop broadcast, and Periscope is now finished. I'm going to close my phone. Okay, so now I'm attempting to see, does this work? So I need a new whiteboard. This is SFPC PC's whiteboard. It's really big, so I need something I think that's probably, 2/3 of the size that can kind of fit in this corner. It's at an angle right now. The camera's at a weird angle. So if I stand here and I talk to you, and I were to draw a diagram here, can you see that? Lighting again is bad. There's shadows. I got to work on that. But generally speaking, does this seem okay, audio, picture-wise? I'm going to look in the chat to see what you say. Going back over here. Okay, I'm back over here. I'm looking to see if anybody will answer me. The problem is, clearly the video is you guys are about 10 seconds behind me. Yes, you can see it. Yes. Okay, so everything seems good. I definitely need to work on the lighting over here, the key, but I'm going to just leave it. It's fine. It is what it is for today. Okay, so I'm now looking at my topics. I know somebody said, oh, I vote for the Git and GitHub first. That's actually definitely going to be my first kind of major set of tutorials that I do once I have all the pieces in here working. So I'm probably going to do that next week. I need a new different whiteboard. I need to have all the lights. I want that to be, and the camera turned off. I want that to be sort of I want to have a solid system working. So today I just want to kind of do, not throwaway topics that aren't important, but things that are more little bits. So one of the things I'm thinking of on my list here is this one, which is picking locations for circles where they don't overlap. This has come up several times for me in various classes at ITP. So the problem is, and I have to make a video about this. The problem is, and I'll come over here, now I'm just practicing. Let's say you have a canvas and you want to fill the canvas with circles randomly, and you don't want them by accident to overlap like that. How do you approach that sort of problem? Now, there's all sorts of interesting circle packing kind of algorithms, but just from a sort of simple standpoint. So I want to look at doing that. So maybe I'll do that first as just sort of like a test of this setup to see if I can make a video happen. And okay, somebody asked, this is a very commonly asked question, which I will answer briefly before I get to that topic. What is the difference between processing.js and p5.js? Let me try to answer this succinctly and simply, if I can. So processing.js is a project first developed by John Ressig and then maintained and developed by a variety of other people. I wish I could just rattle off all their names, but you'll have to look on the processing.js website to find that out. But the processing.js is a project that started with the idea of, could processing code, processing sketches, automatically be translated to JavaScript behind the scenes so that you could write a processing sketch and then see it running in the browser. And this is a very exciting thing when it works, because you wrote your processing code, you don't have to do anything to it. Through some magic behind the scenes thing called processing.js, you embed your code in a web page and you see it running. That's what processing.js is. It still exists. It's one of the tricky things about it is that as things change in processing.js, API things changes, things break. If you try to use a library, it doesn't work. There are lots of ways that can kind of not work based on the fact that there's no magic way to translate any possible piece of code you might ever write in processing or Java into JavaScript. That aside, P5.js is a processing foundation project. What is the processing foundation? I will go to the Processing Foundation. The Processing Foundation is a nonprofit organization. We are a nonprofit company. We raise money to develop and maintain tools like processing, P5.js, and processing.py. We also, I think, our primary mission beyond just maintaining those tools are initiatives around community, education, diversity, accessibility, inclusivity, and really trying to think about not just ways to make the tools themselves accessible, but to broaden the community of people who are contributing and developing those tools as well. So I think it's really important that if you want to have a diverse and a vibrant community of people from all different parts of the world and all different backgrounds and all different genders, etc., that you need to have all of those voices in the development of the tool itself, not just in the user base of that tool. Okay, so that's the processing foundation. So P5JS, I said I was going to answer this succinctly, and I'm not. P5JS, I hope you guys can still hear me and are listening. P5JS is a project that kind of starts with the question of what, this is an oversimplification, but if you said, what if you were inventing and creating, processing the project today rather than in 2001? And one of the key things about processing when it started in 2001, being built on top of the language Java, was embedding Java applets into the web browser. So P5JS really starts with the ideas behind processing in the web environment. So creative coding, beginner-friendly, artist-friendly, framework library for JavaScript, but it is not a port of processing. It's a reimagination of the project, and there are a lot of API similarities, but it's its own new project, and there's a lot of stuff you can do on the web in terms of interface and HTML and CSS and DOM elements, and all that is part of P5JS as well. Well, that was a long answer to that question. That's a creepy face behind me. Oh, yes. So I don't know what this project is. This is called Portrait I'm going to do a terrible job pronouncing this name, Shin-Sung Bak Kim Young-hun. Creates a series of portraits from movies using custom software made with processing. Beautiful, interesting project. Okay, so I'm going to check and see if there's any other questions. Distance, someone requests distance, the distance function. I think I have a video all about the distance function, or maybe you're pointing out that the distance function will be necessary for this problem, and in fact, that is true. Okay, well, look, somehow the weird gray things seem to have disappeared. The lighting in here got better. Okay, I don't know how that happened. Okay, so I'm going to use, this is the P5JS editor, which I'm going to launch again and move it over here. There's a different, this is not the current version, but it's okay, it's close enough. And I'm going to leave this here. Okay, so I'm going to go, can it talk to our, what happened to Google Summer of Code 2016? I don't have a great answer to this. All I can tell you is that the Processing Foundation applied to Google Summer of Code, and we were not accepted, which I personally feel very disappointed about. It's been an amazing program. I am so thankful to Google, and I just imagine it's the kind of thing that so many people apply, and they can't support everybody every summer. So we are, as an organization, looking for other ways we might fund some internships this summer. But certainly, last summer we had 15 students working all summer, being paid by Google, and we really made amazing progress with Python version mode, P5JS, and processing. So I hope we'll be able to do similar stuff this summer even without that support, and we will definitely apply next year. Okay, can it communicate to Arduino? Yes, you can communicate from P5JS to Arduino, and in fact there is a library for doing so. Serial port, there's actually a couple. There was one that was developed by Sarah last summer as part of Google Summer of Code, and I forgot her last name. She did amazing work. I believe it's called P5 Bots. There's also a library worked on by Sean Van Every and several other people at ITP, P5 Serial. So there are various ways. I should point out that all of these solutions require a server running behind the scenes to actually talk to the Arduino and pass that information to the browser page itself. But that's another discussion for another day. I can add that to my list of topics. Okay, I am looking, and it looks like I've gotten through a bunch of questions. I've got 33 people watching live. This is very exciting. I'm going to check to see if there's any questions on Twitter. I don't know why there would be. It doesn't look like there are. And so I'm also going to try an experiment. I have a page. I'll show this to you. I guess, this being a visual medium, maybe this isn't the best idea. But if you go to schiffman.net/voicemail, what I was looking for is a way to take questions from the audience, not live. So I would receive questions, I would listen to them, figure them out, and then present answers to them kind of the next day. So maybe if I'm doing a session on a Thursday, by noon on Wednesday, you would have to submit your questions. So certainly those could be written questions, even with attached code. But I thought it was sort of an interesting experiment just to see if you just were to leave 30-second voicemails trying to ask a general question, I could play those back and try to answer them with a code example. So looking for ways of kind of doing video lessons that are like office hours, individual questions, individual problems, but then exposing those solutions to a larger audience so that when people have that question again, they can come back and refer to that. So you're welcome to go to schiffman.net/voicemail. I just signed up for some free thing that allows you to record from the browser. You could make this with P5.js and the P5 sound library. And I do have one voicemail, which I will, before I leave today, try to play. Okay, going back to look at the chat. Some people are asking me, what is ITP? I must have some new viewers today, which is really, really nice. ITP is a school at New York University. You can read this description here, itp.nyu.edu. It's a place where I teach and work full time. I happen to be on a semester of leave this semester, which is allowing me to work on some other projects, one of which is trying to set up an independent recording studio outside of NYU to make video lessons and and spend some more time doing that and try to get better at them. So open and thrilled for feedback and ideas. And I should mention something else that's really important. Part of the reason for doing this is because I would like to make this studio available for other people to make and record and publish video lessons. In particular, people who represent communities and voices that you don't often see in computer programming video tutorials online. To be even more specific and frank about it, people who aren't white guys with beards, or just white guys without beards, frankly. So, so if you are interested in making video tutorials and you want to send me a note and you want to come and see if you can use this setup to do one, or you know of somebody you think would be good to do that, be in touch. Twitter's probably the best way, @Schiffman. Okay. Okay, so I gotta go. I'm gonna try to do a video lesson here. I'm gonna come over here for a second, and I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to get myself ready. I'm gonna check the battery power on everything. Battery power. Oh, by the way, I should show you guys this. This is one of my favorite things now. This is a very inexpensive, this is about $35. It's an LED panel with a stand. It's also battery powered, so it's not like plugged into anything, although you can get a power for it. It's like, obviously it needs to be tightened. This thing is like, but this is what I'm using for lighting. There's only one of these in this room right now. I have 4 of them, but I just don't have enough batteries, or I don't have the plug adapters for them yet. These are really good, I think. So hopefully, so let me put this back where I had it. Okay. So I'm going to start, and I've got a blank sketch here, which I think will do. I'm over here now. And this video that I'm about to make is, someone said, I'm waiting for the lesson, 12:35 a.m. in India. Wow. I am so thrilled that you are staying up to watch this. If you feel you need to go to sleep, I would totally understand. I should mention that everything I do, I record and then upload later. First of all, this whole archive of this stream will live on YouTube. But in a moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press a record button. So it's going to record this sort of 10-minute lesson that I'm about to do as a standalone chunk. Then I will upload that as its own video that will live on my YouTube channel. So if you have to go to sleep because you're somewhere in the world or it's the middle of the night, you will have access to this later. Okay, here we go. I'm putting this down. This is confusing. I am going to press record. And then I'm going to press record while looking at the camera. In 3, 2, 1. I don't know where my mouse is. Here it is. Hello. In this video, I'm going to look at a particular programming problem. And I'm going to start over. Okay, one more time. That was my rehearsal. Okay, in 3, I'm not going to do that again. Hello, this video I look at oh my God, I have to stop doing this. Hello, in this video I'm going to look at a particular computer programming problem. It's a computer graphics programming problem. I'm going to look at it using P5.js and JavaScript, but the ideas would translate into a lot of different environments. And what is that problem? So I'm going to come over here to diagram it for you. Let's say you have a canvas that you're drawing in, and your goal is, you want to say, I would like to fill this canvas with circles. I'm going to put the circles all randomly on the canvas. So the goal is for the canvas to ultimately look something like this. Now, notice the way that I drew this. None of these circles are overlapping. The truth of the matter is, if you just try to draw 100 circles into a canvas, into a window, most likely through random probability and chance, they're going to overlap. So how do you guarantee that they don't overlap? Now, there are probably a variety of solutions to this, one of which I just thought of, which I think would be great to demonstrate at some point, would be to use some kind of like physics model. So all of these are kind of particles, and they have a repulsion force, so all these things move around and kind of self-organize into this nice spaced out pattern. You could even connect spring forces, and that might be referred to as a force-directed graph. Oh, and I just thought of an idea for another video topic that I'll do later. But I'm going to do a simple solution. I'm going to do a solution that's just about circles that don't move, static, having them appear without overlapping. So let's first at least build the program that does this with the overlapping circles. And I'm going to come over here, and I have, so first of all, I think I should need to make the font a little bit bigger. So first thing I have is I have a P5JS program here. This is a JavaScript program. It's got a setup function and a draw function. The setup function is where I'm going to first create the canvas. And I'm going to make a canvas that's 640 by 360 pixels wide. And then I'm going to do something where I'm just going to say, let's say, how many circles should I do? Let's do 50 to start. And I'm going to pick a random X. And I'm going to pick a random Y. And notice here what I'm doing here, that I am asking for a random X value that's between 0 and the width, and a random Y value that's between 0 and the height. Now, why not? Let's just, I'm going to use a variable called R to indicate the radius of the circle. This is probably something you're familiar with, but just in case. If this is a circle and that's the center of the circle, the distance between the center and the outer edge, that's the radius. That's going to be a very important piece of data during this problem. So let's just use a fixed radius right now of 48, for example. And then I'm going to draw a circle at X, Y. And I'm going to say R times 2. Because in P5JS or processing, if you're using those environments, the argument that you give to the ellipse function is actually the diameter, or the radius times 2. But we want to use the radius for math later. So if I do this, and we give them some nice color like fill, some red and some blue, and run this sketch, you can see, and let's give them also a little alpha, and maybe say no stroke, and you can see there's all of our circles. And of course, they're all overlapping. As you would expect, 50 circles, 48 pixels wide, they're not going to fit. Now, let's try to actually be a little bit more reasonable about this. Let's make them a little bit smaller, and let's only do 25. So this looks like now it is mathematically possible to place all these circles randomly without having them overlap. So now we need to adjust this program to do that. How do we do that? So I'm going back over here. By the way, I'm just practicing making a video, although this is actually a thing that you might be watching. And this is a real topic or something you could actually do. OK, so let's think about this. Let's be the computer for a second. Oh my God, please whiteboard, don't fall over. Let's be the computer for a second. So first, I, as the computer, beep, beep, boop, 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 am going to pick a place to draw a circle, randomly here. Now, as the computer, beep, beep, boop, 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 I'm going to pick another place to draw a circle. Now you can see I got lucky, they don't overlap. So the first thing I might want to do is, let's say I am the computer and I'm about to draw a circle. So I pick a spot to draw that circle, but I don't actually draw it yet. I just pick that particular X, Y. So the question that I want to answer is, does this circle overlap with the previous circle that I drew? If it does, don't draw it there, throw it away, and pick another circle. If it does not, it's fine, and I can actually draw the circle there. So how do I know then if two circles are overlapping? Well, the way that I can determine that, and let's look at two other circles that are overlapping, is by looking at the distance between the circles. Here is R1, here is R2. So each one of these circles has a radius, and then there's a distance between them. Notice this is R1 up to here, and this is R2 up to here. If the distance between the circles, you can see it has this extra space, is greater than adding those two radii together, then they're not overlapping. But in here you could see the radius goes all the way to here, the radius goes all the way to here. The distance here, in this case, the distance is less than R1 plus R2. Here, the distance is greater than R1 and R2. So the relationship between the distance between the two circles and the two radii of the circles, that is all the information you need to determine if the circles are overlapping or not. And P5JS has a function in it, the distance function, which calculates that distance for you. Now, it's not too hard to calculate it on your own. It just involves the Pythagorean theorem, linked to some other place where that's described. But for now, in this particular video, I'm just going to use the distance function. Okay, so let's come back over here, and let's look at this program now. So here's the thing. This is happening, this bit of code is happening 25 times. So it happens once. I've got an xy, it draws a circle. Now it happens again. I've got an xy. How do I compare it to the previous xy? Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way that I can. I need some mechanism by which I'm going to save all the existing locations of the circles save them so I can check new circles against them. And in that sense, we need an array. So what I'm going to do to this code is I'm going to add something. I'm going to add at the top an empty array. In JavaScript, an empty array, open bracket, close bracket. Array being a list of things. And I think a convenient thing that I could do is I could actually say this, var circle equals, and I could make a little object. So instead of, and I'm sort of typing this out really quickly while I am not talking, I am making an object. Now look at these two lines, these two sections of code next to each other. Here are three, let me move this mouse. Here are three variables, an x, a y, and an r. They're standalone variables. I might conceptually think of them as a circle, an x, a y, and an r, but really they're just three separate variables. Now what I've done is made a JavaScript object called circle that has an x, a y, and an r in it. The reason why I've done that is because now I can say circles.push circle. Now look at that. I'm going to delete this, zoom back out, and look at this. And I'm going to comment this out. Now if I run this program, I don't see anything in the screen. I don't see anything in the canvas. But I did make all those circle objects, and I put them in that array. So now look what I could do. Now I can say another loop from I goes from 0 to the length. And I'm going to put this code back. And what am I doing here? I'm actually saying draw everything from the array. Each element of the array, circles index I, draw the circle at circle index i's x, circle index i's y, and then circles index I dot r times 2, and one more. So this line of code got a little bit long, but you can see, and I think I'm going to move this over and stretch this out. So, and now I run this, and you can see I have the same exact program I had before. The difference is, instead of simply drawing 25 random circles to the window, I've now created 25 circle objects, put them into an array, and then drawn all 25 of those to the window. The magic is here, right here, maybe I shouldn't add every single random circle that I make to that array. Maybe I should only add circles here that don't overlap with other existing circles, right? So, okay, so how do we do that? Well, one thing I need to do is say, right here, I need another loop. So look at this. This right here, this is my current circle. This is my circle. Is this a valid circle or not? Here's my loop where I'm going to say, I'm going to compare this circle to everything else that's in the array. The first circle I pick, there'll be nothing in the array, so nothing will happen, and that circle will get added to the array. The second circle I pick, it'll just check it against the first one. If it's okay, it'll get added to the array. The third one I pick will get checked against the previous two, and the fourth one with the previous three, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so first thing I need to do is determine what is the distance between what? That current circle and I'm gonna I'm just gonna put in I'm gonna put the circle's index I into another variable. So the other circle, this is the current circle. I want to check its distance against other circles. And so I'm going to say other.x, other.y. If distance is less than circle.r plus other.r, then what? Then they are overlapping. And I'm writing all caps because apparently I'm screaming that. So look, this is exactly what we need to do. We need to say for every circle, check for the new circle, check its distance against every other circle and check if it's overlapping or not. If it's overlapping even one other circle, I can't use it. So how do we determine if I'm looking at all the circles if it's overlapping at least one? Well, one way of doing that is to start with the assumption that it's not overlapping any of them. So I can say, okay, overlapping equals false. I'm going to start with the assumption that it is a valid circle. It's not overlapping anything. If it happens to be overlapping something, I can set overlapping equal to true, and I can actually just break out of the loop. Because as soon as it's overlapping one, it's an invalid circle. And now I can say, as long as it's still not overlapping after we've checked all the previous one, then put it into the array. So look at this. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. What's the algorithm here? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this 25 times. I'm going to pick a circle. I'm going to assume it's not overlapping any other circles. I'm going to check to see if it's overlapping any other circle, and if it's overlapping one of those other circles, I'm going to set that Boolean variable to true. I'm done. And then, if I did actually get through that entire loop and I still didn't find it overlapping anything, then I can put it into the array. Now, there's still a little bit of a problem here, but this is pretty good. So now I'm going to run this. Can't read property x of undefined. So what did I miss? Line 16. Look at this. This must be this line. This is very confusing. The editor is doing something weird with the line numbers. Other circles okay. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do, by the way, is I'm going to go look at, this is not giving me more information. Let's just look at the array. It has one object in it. The object has an x, a y, and an r. You can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to debug this live. I'm thinking about this. I just paused this video recording. Okay, circle x. So, okay, we got to figure this out somehow. So first thing I'm going to do just to figure this out is I'm going to comment this out. We know this is the problem. Okay, so it works. There's no error there. If I put this loop in and I just take out this, it should still be fine. It's this line of code. Hello, come back. Oh, computer froze. This is really getting bad. Come on, computer. P5 editor. I never even saved this. This is terrible. What a tragedy. Okay, I'm going to pause this recording. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to pause this recording. Okay, pause. All right, I'm still on the live stream. Somebody probably noticed the errors. Yeah, people are having all these good comments about how inefficient this algorithm is. If line 70 is true, won't the conditional break the function by itself? All right, first of all, I got to figure out, I have to annoyingly kill the P5 editor, which I think broke, and then I'm going to retype this code, which is kind of a tragedy here. So I'm doing that now. Should probably download the new version of the editor, I guess. So does anybody remember? Okay, so I said var circles equals an array, and create canvas 640, 360. What else am I missing here? And then I said I equals 0, I is less than 25, I plus plus. Created a circle. I wonder if circle is like x is random width, y is random height. I'm going to save this, by the way, onto the desktop as circles. R is 36. And then I'm going to draw them all. By the way, I don't need the draw loop here. I'll just take that out. And I'm going to say fill 255, 0. I don't remember what I had. This is probably close enough. No stroke, ellipse, circles index I, dot x, circles index I dot y, dot r times 2, r times 2, and save and move that over, give myself some more space, run this. So what did I miss here now? Ah, right, now circles dot push circle. Okay, so that's working. And then I said overlapping is false. Okay, and here what I'm going to do is before I add the circle, I'm going to look through. Oh, you know what I did? I know what I did. I used index I, and this loop is index j. I might have even had like, so I had the right idea. This is the distance between, and then I said var other equals circles, and it's circles index j, not I. That was my mistake. Circle.x, circle.y, circles index j.x, circles, oh no, other.x, other.y, other.x, other.y. And then, and now that camera turned off. And now var, what's going on here? Var, if distance is less than other circle.r plus other.r, then overlapping is false. And var overlapping, oh, it's false. We're going to set it equal to true. And as long as it's not overlapping, add the circle. Yeah, somebody mentioned in the comments that P5, the editor should have an autosave feature, and it should have an autosave feature. That is definitely in the landscape of things to come. Okay, oh, I'm still getting this error. So let's see, other is circles.j. So okay, so I still have this error. Let's see what's going on. The question is the error in circle y? I wonder if circle is like a bad word to use here. Let's just name everything circle C. Circle is not defined. Cannot read R of undefined in where? Line 18. Why? So why does it not like other? Oh, there's like an infinite loop happening. That's also why. That is also why what did I do to cause, I haven't done these videos in a while. I'm just way off my rocker today. Well, I gotta examine this code more closely. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, what's going on? Let's look at this whole thing and see what's going on. So what I want to do is figure out why it's not working. Let's just do 2 here. Okay, so if I just set the distance to 0, and there's no reason why I can't call this circle, so let's get this back in. Comment this out. If I run this, circle C is not defined where in line 24, okay. Okay, so let's do this. And yeah, am I doing the thing that I, okay, somebody Somebody is, shouldn't your for loop read var j? Oh, it should. I just have like, I've just like lost my mind here. And thank you to the chat. Open this back up. Yeah, I just had a typo in there. This is really, this will all be recorded for posterity. Okay. J is less than that. That's why I was getting info loop. Okay, great. So I get one circle. And now I can start putting other things back. Distance between circle.x, circle.y, other.x, other.y. And okay, great. That looks good. And run it again. Now let's do 25. See, no overlapping circles. Run it again. Run it again. So actually the problem that I had, frankly, was just this. That's where I was. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the video and fix that typo, and then talk about, this isn't finished yet because there's still some issues here, but let me put some line breaks in here. And let's see where I was. I'm going to slide this over. Can you read? Is this font size okay in the video? I feel like it should be a little bit bigger. No, I guess it is what it was. Okay, so I'm going to add some things. I want to change the. Okay, so I got a few more things to add to this example because this is not done. Save my file now. Yep. Okay, I saved my file, and here we go. Now I'm back into this video here, so I'm gonna hit record again. I'll have to stitch these two videos together. By the way, has anybody noticed any glitchy things, like the audio cuts out for a second, or there's like a weird edit? I noticed that the other day when I was testing the system. But so if you notice anything weird, don't assume that it's just your machine. Okay. Back now, and I restarted the P5.js editor, and I also did notice the error here. So let's look at this. Uncaught type error, cannot read property X of undefined. So on line 19, which is this particular line of code right here. So why is that error? What is this error? So one thing that I did here, you might notice, is I have a loop I that is going 25 times. For every new circle that I'm going to make 25 times, I need to check every other circle, j. So what's the other circle? Not index I, but j. So what this needs to be here, this was just a mistake. This needs to be circles index j, because this is the part where I'm checking the new circle proposal. I have a circle proposal, and I want to check that circle proposal against every other circle, j. Okay, so now we should be able to run this, and we should see, look at that. There are 25 circles, all not overlapping, because it can't add a circle if it overlaps one another. Let's make sure that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me move this over here. This is going to be, counting with me. I don't know why I'm doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Why are there only 15 circles? I did ask to do 25, and I have to scroll up to see that, right? I asked to do 25, but there's only 15. The reason why there are only 15 is because some of the circles it picks overlap another one, and they don't get added. So this is not actually a loop that I want to do 25 times. I want to execute this loop until I have reached 25 circles in the array. So this loop can change while circles.length is less than 25. I need to keep trying to pick a circle. So this is just going to keep going. Pick a circle, it overlaps. Pick a circle, it overlaps. Pick a circle, it overlaps. Pick a circle, it doesn't overlap. Great. So now this is a little bit dangerous. I'm going to hit save. It's a little dangerous because if I ever say why circles.length is less than 25, you know, it could be that it's just impossible for it to find a place where it could add a circle. But I think right now we can reasonably say it's going to be able to find 25 places on the screen. But let's just start with 15. And you can see, you know, each time I run this, we're probably reliably going to have 15 circles. And I'm going to make it 25 now. We can see that each time I run this, you can see reliably I'm getting 25 circles. And I would go through and count them. I'm just going to have to assume that this is working. Now, however, if I were to change this to 300, I can almost for sure tell you this is going to crash. Let's just see what happens. Why not, right? Nobody, if you're like, who's watching this video still? No, I don't. I'm gonna run it. You can see I did. That's interesting that there's a bunch there, but you can see like I can't seem to stop it. I'm surprised that it even drew anything at all, because it should just sort of be stuck in this loop. Maybe that's like the previous one, but you can see that it's like completely stuck, and I can't close it because I got an infinite loop. So the only thing I can do right now is force quit the P5 editor and relaunch it, and open up my sketch again, called circles, and set this number back to 25. But let's say we wanted to really push it. In the great words of Code Anti-Code on Twitter, let's push it a little bit. What if I wanted to push it and try to get as many circles as I could fit? Well, there's a variety of ways we could sort of think about doing this. But one thing I could do, and I'm going to make up a variable called my protection. I'm going to call it protection equals equals 0. And actually, what you know, I was going to say there's so many different ways. I thought of like a whole bunch of different ways of doing this. But you know, I'm going to do this the simplest way possible. Let's just say I have a counter that goes up every time. And what I'm going to say is if protection is greater than 10,000, then I'm going to just break out of this loop. So what I'm essentially doing is saying that, you know what, I'm going to try to put 25 circles on the screen, but if I've tried like 10,000 times, it's probably not that the 10,001th time is going to get me those 25 circles. So I should be able to now run this, and you should see now if I were to make this now 300, I'm going to save it again in case I screw that up, you can see that it's kind of getting to the maximum. And 10,000 is kind of a big number, but you can see, so that's kind of a quick and dirty solution at least. And now that one thing we could do that's kind of nice here is maybe I could also think about giving these random sizes, like between 12 and 36. And whoops, and you can see here, we have a kind of nice, a nice algorithm that fills our screen with circles of random sizes. And I'm sure, you know, we could try to do something here, and I could make this 50,000, and I could see like it's going to take a while. It's running. It's got to like try this like 50,000 times. You can see like it took a little while, but it gave us a nice, you know, in a way, circle packing algorithm. Just sort of a brute force. This is not an efficient way of doing this. Don't get me wrong, but it's sort of brute force algorithms that fill our screen with circles. None of them overlapping. So I will post this code in a link below with this video, kind of run through a few of the questions and issues around an algorithm like this. I'm sure there are lots of improvements that could be made to this and other questions that will arise. This was a bit of a, this was not my finest video, but it does have a result where you can see the circles. And so I will consider maybe doing a follow-up on this or something if there are some questions that you have in the comments you want to ask and make some improvements to this particular example. Okay, thanks for watching and see you soon. Oops, hit stop. I'm still here, by the way, live stream. I don't know if there's anyone still watching this live stream. Okay, great. So there's still 34 people watching. And now, okay, so it is about 3:40 p.m. I'm going to ask a question in the chat. Yeah, I'm doing Q&A now. Everyone's saying, yeah. So just ask a question. I'm going to watch it. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open a voicemail. So this is, I'm going to see if I have any other voicemails. I don't think that I do. I am going to, let's see if you guys can hear this. I don't have a way of piping the audio directly, so I'm going to play the audio out of the speakers, and you'll get it in this mic. So let's see if you can hear this.
Hello, hi, my name is Andrew Kim. My question is, what's the best way to upload your processing or P5.js sketch to your website? Any website. Thanks.
Could you guys hear that okay? Let me know, because I'm actually going to do it again and record this chunk and sort of answer the question as a chunk. Let me know. I'm going to look into the chat. Somebody said yep, but I don't know what that yep referred to. Does yep mean you could hear it okay? Okay, well, enough people are saying yes, then I'm going to assume that's right. Okay, so I'm going to, how am I going to do this? So I'm going to answer that question with a variety of, so first of all, let me see if I do this. Yeah, that's pretty good. I am going to open up processing 3. So I'm gonna answer this question in a moment. You know what? I talk about oops, sorry, I got too many things open here. Gonna minimize this. Okay, so I'm about to hit record and say, hello, welcome to my first voicemail video. I'm taking voicemail questions and answering them. So let's take a listen.
Hello, hi, my name is Andrew Kim. My question is, what's the best way to upload your processing or P5.js sketch to your website? Any website. Thanks.
So the first thing I noticed about doing voicemails as opposed to video messages is I have to just stand here awkwardly while we listen. But I think it was okay. I'll try to think of something better to do next time. Okay, so let's think about this question. There's a lot of answers to this question and a lot of different ways I could answer this question, and probably a lot of ways people could tell me that my answers are incorrect or that I'm not thinking of something. But let me give you some sort of general thoughts and ideas here. So the first thing is, if you're using processing, you should realize that processing at this point in the year 2016 is primarily a desktop application development environment. Processing, which started in 2001, was built on top of the Java programming language because Java applets, little programs that could be embedded into a web page, were a thing. Not just a thing, but like a big thing that like people were excited about. And that's really an almost entirely deprecated or non-existent technology these days. So on the one hand, my answer to this question is, if you are working in the realm of creative coding, in particular tools like processing in P5.js, and you want to put something on the web, I might say an answer to that is just go and work in P5.js. However, if you do have a processing sketch and you don't want to use P5.js, there are a couple paths. Number one is you still can make Java applets. You could turn your processing sketch into a Java applet. I'll try to include a link to a tool add-on for processing that lets you do that, but I'm not going to run through a full tutorial about that now because it's really not that useful. However, one thing you could do is use something called JavaScript mode. Now, this is all a very confusing set of tools and topics here. Let me make a list of this, actually. So, oh, this camera's not on. This is a longer answer to this question than I had expected, but you're here with me, you're watching this, I'm going to answer it anyway. So, there is something called processing. This is built on top of the language Java. I'm standing in front of this, I don't know if you can see it. There is something called P5.js. This is built on top of the language JavaScript. There is also something, and I'll put a line between these two things, called processing.js. So this is a big point of confusion. What's the difference between these two things? So first, one thing I'll mention just in terms of the difference between these two things is these two projects are projects that are maintained by the Processing Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to code literacy, initiatives around education, diversity, accessibility, as well as primarily also spending our time maintaining a set of software tools for people to make stuff with and learn about programming with. So these two are projects that are maintained by the Processing Foundation itself. This is a separate project. You can find it at processingjs.org. It was invented by John Ressig, but there's been a variety of other people who have taken the project on and maintained it over the years. So on the one hand, I don't have as much expertise in terms of the inner workings of this particular project as I do with these two. But the main difference, which is related to the question in the first place, is that I said, oh, if you want to do something for the web, just go ahead and work with P5JS itself. Processing.js, what's really magical about processing.js is what it does is it takes your processing code and automatically translates it to JavaScript behind the scenes. So let's say you've made a sketch in processing. Your options would be rewrite the code yourself in JavaScript, maybe using P5JS, or don't rewrite the code yourself, but use processing.js to have it translated for you automatically behind the scenes. So let me see if I can get that to work. I'm not sure if it will. Let's see if we can get that to work really quickly. I'll show it to you, and then we'll talk about P5JS. I haven't even really gotten to the whole putting it on the web somewhere. Just sort of talking about developing it. But hopefully this is useful. You skip ahead if you want the putting it on the web thing. Okay, so now over here, I'm back over here. So one thing you can do over here, I'm going to go in processing itself under Java. This Java is the primary mode. And by mode, I mean sort of what mode is the editor in? What mode am I? The mode I'm in today is Java. I am in Java mode. I want to write Java code. So if you want to use processing and write processing code, Java code, the default mode, it's called Java. However, you might notice, I don't have any other modes, that I could click Add Mode. And here you can see there are a whole bunch of modes. Oh no, this one's grayed out. Well, I won't be able to go all the way through this for you. So there are modes like Python mode. Hey, let's add Python mode. This is going to be exciting. Not answering the question, but. So you can see if I click install down here, it's downloading. I guess maybe it might take a little while to download. So what I'm doing is now installing another mode. Once that's done, I'll be able to switch from Java to Python and then write my code in Python. So JavaScript mode, I'm surprised to see that this actually isn't, this is grayed out, meaning it hasn't been updated for processing 3. Florian, who maintains this mode, maybe I'll send him an email after this video, or somebody could tweet at me to remind me, or tweet at him or something to see. JavaScript mode is the mode that has an export feature that will export and make a web page that runs off of processing.js. I should say that there are a lot of, personally I'm not using processing.js that much anymore, other than some scenarios, mostly because there are lots of ways that can cause it to not work. If you write some JavaScript code, if you write some Java code that's not part of the core processing API, processing.js won't know how to translate that. If you use any library, processing.js won't know how to translate that. There are some other tricky things, like if you name a function and a variable with the same name, that's a big no-no in JavaScript. But in Java, that's okay. So there are lots of reasons why that can fail, which really leads me back to, I think, it might be worth it to you is if you want to upload something to the web to just use P5JS. So now, what does it mean to use P5JS? So one of the things about P5JS, which is a little bit different than processing, it installed it. Let's just take a moment to take a look at it. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to switch to Python mode. I'm going to maybe close out this example because it probably doesn't want to do it well. So I'm going to switch to Python mode. I'm going to make a new sketch. You can see I'm in Python mode. I'm going to go over to examples. Let's go topics, simulate, flocking. Look at this. The exact same example I was just running. Ooh, runs a little bit slower. I guess maybe some of the, that's interesting. I wonder why. I wonder if some of the math functions are somehow a little bit slower in Python. But you can see here, look at that. Python code. I'm afraid of this code because I'm told that the indentation actually matters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Very few, this is kind of a sad statement, but very few things in life give me greater pleasure than nicely indented code. But the fact that the indentation actually matters, it gives me a little bit of the willies. But someday I'm going to get over that, and I'm going to be here in Python mode. Anyway, we did have a question, which was uploading your sketches. So let's say we now put processing away for a second, and I quit it, and I'm in P5JS. So first thing, let me mention something to you. What I've got open here, and this was an example I just did in a previous video, which shows you how to draw a lot of circles to a window, none of which overlap. What I've got here looks a lot like processing. I've got this editor running on this laptop. There's a laptop here, by the way. Ah, no, tape. There's a laptop there. Editor running on this laptop that opens a little browser window and draws a bunch of stuff. The thing about P5JS is that what P5JS really is, the editor is P5JS. But at its core, what P5JS really is this file. I'm like zooming in as much as I can. There's a file here in this directory along with my JavaScript file called p5.js. And if I look at it, this is actually all the code for the entire P5JS library. So because of the way the web is this sort of bigger, more open platform and not a new thing by any means, there are so many ways you can write code that uses P5JS beyond just this particular desktop editor. You can use something called CodePen. You can use something called JS Fiddle. You can download other editors like Lightroom, like Table, something like that. You can use Sublime Text, which is just a text editor. You can use just about anything. However, if you are using this particular P5JS desktop editor and you made something like this and you want to put it on the web, what matters to you are the files associated with this particular sketch. Now, all the different kinds of tools manage and maintain these files in different ways. What I can show you here under View, the View option right here is this Show Sketch folder. If I click on that, it's opening up a little Finder window, and you can see here there are 3 files. Index.html, a libraries folder, has the P5JS library, and sketch.js, which is my actual code. If you can get those set of files on a server somewhere, then your stuff is on the web for people to see. Finished. Now, I happen to have, which I'll try to link to now, a video that shows you how to FTP, File Transfer Protocol, how to take these files and upload them to a server if you have a server that supports FTP and what kind of FTP software you could use. So I'm not going to go through that now. I'm going to kind of answer the question now in a different way, which is, I don't know that this desktop editor is probably not the future of how you or anyone will develop sketches with P5JS. Because there's not really a good reason why this editor itself couldn't be something that runs in a web page itself. And in fact, there is P5, am I going to get to it? Heroku, let's see if it's in my history somewhere. Okay, there was a guy, is a GitHub user named Jason Siegel. He's not from Nantucket as far as I know. P5JS editor. This should give me this should give me the repo. So what I'm looking for now is something that is a very, 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 very early proof of concept idea for a P5 editor that runs in the browser. Once again, this is not some novel concept that people working on P5 have invented, an editor in the browser. There are lots of them. A really nice one you might look at is one called Thimble, which is made by the Mozilla Foundation. So if I go to thimble.webmaker.org, I don't even know what this is. This is something new. There's a new Thimble. Try the new Thimble. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. So you can see here, I'm in a browser. It's making a project for me. I'm like editing some HTML, and I can say, more HTML. And I spelled that wrong, but you can see the result of it here. And I could add a JavaScript file. So you can see this is not some idea that we at the Processing Foundation have invented. However, I think there's value in having an editor that's designed for the total beginner just to write P5JS code and beyond that total beginner as well. So anyway, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to click on this link here. You can see the URL there. And you can see now that I have my code, and I think I can make the font bigger. So I'll make this like 36 point. I don't know, 32 point. And I'll move this over a little bit. You can see here I have some P5JS code. There's a run button, which looks a lot like that desktop editor run button. If I hit play, you can see my code is running over here, and I could change the background color and run it again. I didn't really change it that drastically, and run it again, and you can see. So you can see that this is a way of developing and testing out code ideas in the browser itself. I could save it, I have a link to it. The reason why I'm showing this to you is, let's say you have a Squarespace site, or you have a WordPress blog. One of the great things about the editor, and the future of the editor, is the ability to have a variety of ways of sharing it. So I don't have to upload anything because the code is there on a server running somewhere. And in addition to that, under this share button, you can see here, and I just turned off. I'm going to turn myself back on. I'm still on. I'm off. Am I a robot or a computer or what? So under this share button, you can see, oh, please save my project before sharing. So I'm going to save it. It saved it. And now I'm going to go to share again. And you can see there are a variety of ways. I could simply share a link to it so people could see it. I could share a link, this edit link to a page which has the code on it, and somebody could save that code into their account and play with it. And then this embed code, which is an iframe. And interestingly enough, let's try something totally insane. I'm going to take this code, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it, oh wait, I want to go back to Thimble, and I'm going to make a Thimble project. This is really kind of weird what I'm doing. And I'm going to embed it in there. I probably can't run the JavaScript. But you can see the idea here is that in theory, if that had worked, that my sketch would now be running in this web page. And I know for a fact this does work in the context of a WordPress blog or a Squarespace site, that sort of thing. And that's also a possibility. So I don't know how... I have a chat running. So this is really the end of this video. I'm going to kind of look at the chat really briefly because there might be some kind of key questions that should be useful to answer. I don't see it bother me about 20 minutes indentation. Okay. 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 So some interesting questions, but. Yeah, GitHub Pages, by the way, is a great way of putting things online, but that's a tutorial that will be coming in the future. So anyway, hopefully that gives you some background about processing P5.js. Somebody wrote in the chat, shots fired at Python. Python is like, I live in awe of Python. I wish I could be as great as Python, but I just. Someday I will achieve. I don't mean to say anything bad about Python. That's not what I meant to say at all. I love all programming languages. There's no such thing as a bad programming language. A programming language that somebody likes and is happy to use is a good programming language as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I don't know. I better shut this off now because I know I'm really in crazy territory here. So thanks for watching this. If you have questions about this, add them in the comments. I'll come back and record another video about this topic, or but I'll mention I know, who knows, I can't believe anybody would still be watching this right now, but if you would like to leave a voicemail, you go to schiffman.net/voicemail, and you can just click here to record it, and I will answer it next time on my voicemail video series. Okay, and now I'm going to click this record button and say goodbye. Okay, now I'm going to go back. I'm still live here with you, live people, 27 of you, and I'm going to go look at the chat. Okay, I'm just checking to see if there are any questions. Are you planning a book on P5.js just like learning processing? I would love to do a version of the learning processing book using P5.js. A lot of it would be the same. A lot of it would be wildly different. I don't know, honestly, if I'll have the time for it. But the other issue is that book, unfortunately, Learning Processing, is wrapped up in, it's owned by Elsevier. And so I would need to figure out, I don't want to do, I would like, if I do a book like that, I would want to self-publish it. So it probably means I need to write something entirely from scratch. Unless I can come to some agreement in terms of how I might adapt some of that language and license it in my own thing. But no one's paying attention to this anyway. So okay, but I would like to do that. Weren't you going to do a GitHub tutorial? So I am going to do a GitHub tutorial. That's probably going to come next week. I'm going to kind of work up to that. Node.js, P5.js. Which one do you prefer for socket real-time multiplayer? So you're going to, so okay, the question is, Node.js, P5.js, which one do you prefer for socket real-time multiplayer? So you're going to need both. So P5.js is a client-side front-end library only. It does not do any server-side communication. So you probably, if you want to do something networked, you're going to need to integrate a server, Node.js, and use socket.io to talk to a P5.js sketch. So it really isn't a one or the other, but how to integrate the two of those together. Great topic for a video tutorial at some point. Okay. Always wondered why alpha background. Okay. How often do you do live streams? Okay. So first I'm going to answer, what about nature of code for P5? Aha, yes. I am hoping to have a P5.js version of the Nature of Code book out by the end of April. That is my one of my #1 priorities right now. In particular, not to just be plugging random things here, but I did a Nature of Code course with this company called Cadenze. It's like a MOOC company. If you can't get more videos, somewhere here, if I search Cadenze Nature of Code, if I go here, you can see. So this is coming out, and it uses P5.js. And if this ever appears, this is coming out sometime soon. And I would like to have the Nature of Code book in JavaScript available at this time. So, and that I don't have to worry about any publisher. So it's really just about getting a workflow up and running. I'm looking at hiring somebody to help me get the workflow of having my HTML files go to a PDF, so I can, again, because a lot of the technology I used a few years ago is. So anybody wants to help with that, I'll gladly take, if you have, Node and JavaScript skills and HTML and CSS skills, I have somebody who I'm going to hire, but I would gladly take additional help and gladly pay for that help to get that project happening faster. Okay. When will the next live streaming be? The next live streaming will be 2 days from now on Thursday. And the next live stream after that will be the next day on Friday. I am on leave this semester from my regular job at ITP, and I will hopefully be doing live streams now that I have this finally set up again, twice a week, every week from now until the end of June. I'm sure there'll be a week or so, a week here, or a week. Actually, I know of 1 week in April that I'll be away and 1 week in May that I'll be away. But I'm going to try to establish a regular time, and I'm going to try to establish a variety of times so that it works for people in different parts of the world. But I need you guys to give me feedback about that. Okay, so I think it's 4 o'clock. I think that's going to be it for today. I will upload those 2 videos, the voicemail one and the circle packing one. So you'll see those on the YouTube channel later if you want to go back and watch them. And please stay in touch. Twitter, I guess, is the best way at this point. And look forward to making more videos in the future. Okay, everyone. I'm gonna do my thing where I count for 10. I'm gonna give it another. I'm happy to answer 1 or 2 more questions. So I'm gonna wait 10 seconds to see if there are any more. But don't worry if you can't make the live streams, because I'll always archive. Everything is always archived. So it's only if you want to participate in the chat and that sort of thing. Okay. I'm getting messages on my phone. Maybe people are already tweeting at me. Okay, I'm going to go, I guess. That seems like those were the questions for today. For Farain, who just connected and it's ending, as soon as I hit stop on the stream button, this will then appear on YouTube archived. So I'm going to do that now. I believe what I do is click this button. This works. See you. Thanks for tuning in, and see you soon.